Okay, so I fixed my stand, kind of. I use duct tape because duct tape solves everything, but it'll have to do for now. Anyway, I was gonna do another viewing of Glass Onion and then a review, and then I got distracted, as only I could ever be distracted by pretty colors. I went scrolling down and I saw the long list of anime on Netflix, and I was like, oh, anime. I haven't watched anime in a while. What should I watch? And then I saw The Way of the House Husband, and I was like, did I ever finish that? No, I didn't. So I just finished it. It is very late. I'm very tired. But I really wanted to get all of this out and promote it because it is amazing. And I need to go look at the manga because I also love manga. So I mean, why wouldn't I? Um, I actually wrote it down on post-it because I will totally forget unless I look at that post-it. But anyway, um, basically the premise of The Way of the House Husband is a former Yakuza guy is pretty much like retired so he can become a house husband, stay-at-home guy, right? Um, but he has this insane level of intensity that he brings to every single chore or like he's shopping and he makes this big deal, like everything is a big deal. And the first time I saw like the first couple episodes, basically like each episode is like a collection of like mini stories. um so by the time you get to like the end of season 2, it's like chapter like 78, 80, 90s, like chapter 100 or something. I don't know, like I was not paying attention to that part, just that it was a high number. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, he brings this level of intensity to everything. And I thought I would be like Miku, his wife, where she's just kind of like nonchalant about a lot of stuff. Because Tatsu, the house husband, he can get really over the top about everything. And I thought like, oh, Miku, I'm probably like Miku because both my sons are ADHD and all over the place. Like Alan's kind of like chaotic good in a way. Like he's really a kind heart, but he can be a bit chaotic. Connor is just chaos. Alan is 9. Connor is 5. Connor is just straight chaos. There is no good, evil, neutral. No, there's just straight chaos. Chaos exists because of Connor. That's how crazy he is. So I thought like the way that Tatsu is just pure chaos in everything he does, and the way that Miku responds to Tatsu, I thought maybe I'd be like Miku. But the more I watch the series, the more I'm like this crazy blend of both of them because I'm not like insane or intense, like intensely, just that word intense is the only way to describe it. Um it is glorious though, like how everything is intense for him. Because he's so passionate. Like Tatsu is so passionate about everything. Like it can seem like something so minor, so minute, but he just brings this insane amount of energy and passion and grit to it. Like he goes head over heels for every little thing. And I'm like, you know what? That's kind of how I am about life. Like it maybe not to that kind of intensity. I don't have that much energy. Okay, like my children like took my energy the moment they were born. They're like, haha. And my ADHD is more like not energetic. I don't know. Anyway, that's probably also because I'm a single mom, so like I like have no energy left. But anyway, not quite to the level of energy that Tatsu has, but I enjoy things, or I find joy in anything like that's around me. Um like it may seem like a simple task or whatever, but I will like, you know what, I'm going to find joy in this. I am, because some days I need it. Okay. um so I'm just like, I look at Tatsu like, you know what, I'm pretty much like him, maybe not to that level of intensity, but like that, like let's bring this, and just enjoying that stuff in general. Oh my gosh, my camera's falling. Okay. It may not have seemed like it, but it was starting to fall. Duct tape works just a little bit, but I'm gonna have to find a better stand, I swear. Okay, so And by level of intensity, by him being intense, I mean that like everything is a battle for him, okay? I'm just gonna highlight a couple examples. Really, you need to watch it. You need to see. I was laughing so hard about a lot of these. One of them was him reading to kids, like basically some person, like story time at the library, right? I love libraries. I'm a major bibliophile, okay? Like I'm really into books. So I'm just like, library. Okay, I was hoping there would be an episode like that. Something to do with books. I was not disappointed because the person who's supposed to do the story time for the kids had to drop out for some reason, like all of a sudden. So Tatsu, who's very crafty, it's not just that he's like a house husband, like he does chores or anything. Like, no, he's like super crafty. He's he's insanely like just beautiful. Like everything that he does is gorgeous. And I'm just like, okay, I'm crafty, but like the level that he is, it's just, oh my gosh. He creates like these picture framed like storyboards of the story, and he's telling a story to the kids, but he's doing it in the most intense way possible. Like this is a crazy, like he calls like the main characters like boss lady and boss man, and they're just like boss lady, boss man, what the heck? And he's treating everything like it's a Yakuza like thing going on, like a battle going on. And the kids are getting like really confused, but they're kind of into it. But then he starts to get like super into kind of violence and other things, and the kid, like the two women who are like the librarians are facilitating this, like, okay, we're done here, and they lived happily ever after. He's like, but I'm not done, like, but I was laughing so hard because I was like, oh my gosh, it seems like something that my boys would be into. Like they would be totally into someone telling a story like that. Mainly Connor, because Connor's really into horror. Like, I'm talking this kid watches, like, Tales from the Crypt cartoon from, like, the 80s and 90s. Like, he found that on some kid's channel on his tablet, and he watches that to chill. He likes Goosebumps. Like, I can't, like, I am not very good about setting, like, there's my account for adult stuff, and then there's the kids' account, right? For any of the stuff that we have. Yes, they go on Netflix, kids, but it's like Connor will watch things that technically he knows he's not supposed to watch, or he knows that technically is for older kids. And yeah, so he'll watch that stuff and be like, oh, this is fun. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I know I wanted you to get into Scooby-Doo just like I did as a kid, but geez, okay. Like he's really into like horror stuff and yeah, anyway. So Connor would like a story by Tatsu, I'm pretty sure. There's other ones, like there was a cooking one where Miku's dad and mom came over, and so poor Tatsu he's practically having like a stroke because Miku and her dad are not very good cooks, or rather they do things in a very obscure way. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. Like the way that they do it is just oddball. The way that they chop vegetables is just like chop, chop, chop. Like there's no finesse to it or anything. Poor Tatsu is just like, he's like about to die from a stroke, from like a heart attack. He's just like, no. And the level of energy that Miku and her dad bring is insane. They're so into what they're doing, which is really adorable. Like it's this father-daughter like cooking thing, and it kind of reminded me a little bit about my own dad and me. Like he wasn't around much when I was growing up, but he did say that, like, you know what, if you ever get married one day, which I hope you never do, because dads are always going to tell their daughters that, he better be able to cook. Unfortunately, my ex-husband was not a very good cook. I cooked better than him. Like I was actually able to not just recreate but make, in his opinion, better ramen than he ever had in Japan, because my ex-husband was like in the Marines while I was in the Navy, and so like he had ramen in Japan, and I was able to recreate like spicy ramen the way that he liked it, but he's just like, wow, this is amazing. Like whatever like my ex-husband liked, I found a way to make it like phenomenal in his eyes. I don't know, like he was not a good cook at all. I'm talking like he could barely make mac and cheese. I somehow made mac and cheese like heavenly to him. I don't know. I'm not talking like Master Chef, like baked whatever. No, just from a box. But apparently the way I made it was heavenly. I don't know. I don't. But anyway, so like if I ever get with a guy again, then hopefully he knows how to cook, because I can't be the only cook. No. But my dad and I used to like, do things together, like when it came to cooking, because my dad was really into cooking. He's like, a real man knows how to cook, and he knows how to make things really, really well. So part of me is crushing a little bit on Tatsu just because he's like really good at cooking. But he's just, this poor guy looked like he was about to die because of Miku and her dad, and the way that they were doing things was not how he wanted to. And then Miku's mom comes in and she's just like, all right, whew, dinner's ready. And Tatsu's like, you are a god. Like, you're a goddess. Like, you were able to corral these two with their crazy energy. How did you do it? Like, he's just like practically bowing down to her, because he's like, Miku's mom, like, Mom, you're amazing. And I was just like, yeah, actually she is. How did she do that? Like, I need to know, because my boys are still crazy. Yeah, so those are like just a couple examples. But the way, gosh darn it, oh my gosh, this thing. But the way that Tatsu is intense over everything is just, it's fun, it's hilarious. The other thing about the show is you actually learn a lot about, because it's very informative, you learn a lot about like different herbs and like ingredients to use, how to bake things. I was having practically like this nergasm, like just all the food showcased in this series is just phenomenal, and it made me so hungry. I'm the kind of person where I like to eat something while I'm watching food on, like, so if I'm watching like a MasterChef thing, if I'm watching some baking thing or whatever, I need to have food in front of me, because I cannot function, I cannot watch that if I don't have food in front of me. It's very frustrating for me to like not have something to nibble on while I'm watching food being made or critiqued or whatever, just food in general. And I love food, so so I had to go in the kitchen. I had to get like snacks and stuff, because it's like, okay, I've already had dinner and stuff, but no, I've got to do popcorn. I have a Rice Krispies treat bar somewhere, so like I got that, and I was like, oh, I happen to have some French onion dip and some corn chips, which is my guilty pleasure, because I do not like onions unless they're cooked, except French onion dip. That's like the only exception. I don't know what it is. So had some of that, and then it was going and getting some sourdough toast with some butter and some honey drizzled on top. Like, I just kept going back to the kitchen to get stuff, because I was not anticipating how much food would be like showcased in this series. But it was amazing, and it looked so delicious. I was like, wow, I really want to know how to make all those dishes, because I'm not that, no. I'm literally like instant everything, canned, frozen food. Like, I don't have time for practically anything as a single mom. Like, I have not been able to manage my time to the point where I could do that. Or I like my sleep. I'm not getting up at crazy dark 30 to make stuff for the day. No. No, I'm not. I want my sleep. I get little enough as is. So so I'm like, I want to know how to make this stuff, because that would be like a weekend thing for me. But just, they show you, like, because Tatsu is narrating the entire time, like, how he's making something, or like life hacks. There's so many life hacks in this series on food, on chores, on deals that you can get at the supermarket. Like, yes, it's in Japan, but some of the tricks that he uses, like, that's really nifty. Like, that's something that I would want to use. Like, okay, that's something I could consider actually while shopping. The way that he narrates it, as I said, he does it like he's always in a battle. Like in one episode, like one of the mini parts or whatever, the chapters, he gets a cold, and he's like visualizing him and his white blood cell count like battling the Yakuza invasion of the cold virus. Like, that's how he's imagining it. And he's just like, oh no, I'm going to battle. And And so he's like narrating all these different remedies for a cold, lemon and ginger and different kinds of tea and cold medicine and humidifier and face like mist. He's like going all on like everything that you can use for a cold, and I'm going to rest now. Like he's literally telling you how to help fight a cold. But because of his intensity and the way he's like viewing it as him being a Yakuza, like former Yakuza, battling Yakuza, it's just like you're laughing at it because it's hilarious, but you're gleaming a bit of really good information at the same time. So like I'm learning things, but I'm laughing, and I feel conflicted in a way because I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing. I should be writing this down. So I'm probably going to rewatch it soon and just start writing. Like I will have a notebook and start writing things down because I'm like, this is really good information. Another episode is like him teaching another, like a housewife, how to manage the home. Like she doesn't understand finances or cooking or cleaning very well. He's like literally training her like how to ride a bike really fast to the market and back, and like how to spot good deals, and how to like balance the checkbook. Like he's training her on how to do this stuff. Like she's a housewife, and he's like, she goes to Miku like, I don't know what to do, and Miku's like, that's not my area, because Miku's the the breadwinner. She's the one who has the job, and Tatsu's the stay-at-home husband. So she's like, but I know who to ask, and so she's like, Tatsu, come and train her, and that's literally what they do. So so he's like narrating anytime he does this stuff, and so you're getting a lot of good information. So even if it may not seem like your type of humor, and you like it's a lot of good information, so like bring a notebook. I'm not kidding. Like bring a notebook so you can write down this stuff. It's amazing. I will say this though, that even though I find I identify a bit more with Tatsu as far as like just the way that he views things, even if it seems mundane or just like little, he brings like such passion to it. I was like, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of stuff. And I know for the longest time throughout my life, I thought I was such a weirdo because I get so excited about little things. I'm like really happy about the little stuff. Like, why not? This thing keeps slipping. Oh my God. Okay. It's because I hope the tape stays. Oh my gosh, it looks like it's gonna fall off. Okay, anyway, I know this is a long drawn out like review, probably because I keep getting distracted. So even though I kind of identify more with Tatsu as far as that, I really love their backstory. Like they don't touch on it too much, just like little bits here or there through memory. And one of them is Miku is like kind of half carrying Tatsu, and I don't, at this point, because my brain is fried, I don't remember which chapter it was and why, but she was like helping to like half carry him. And he's like, oh, I remember like the last time that you did this for me, because I guess like he had been really messed up from some big boss fight or whatever, and Miku finds him like in an alley, and he's all bloodied up and everything. She helped him, and they get married, and she's like, yeah, I kind of half carried you. He's like, actually, if I recall, you completely carried me. Like she had him like fireman carry, because even though Tatsu's kind of like the protector in a way, Miku's no slouch herself. Like she's actually a very strong woman, and she is intense too. Like if she feels threatened or she thinks that something's going on where she needs to bring some strength, she does not hold back. She kind of butts heads sometimes with Tatsu as well, especially the crime catch polycure. It's like a pretty girl crime fighter kind of, like it's like their like little anime. Like she's really into the polycure, and or is it police cure, polycure? I don't remember. Oh my gosh. Okay, my brain is tired. Anyway, like she's really into it, and like sometimes some of the arguments that she's had with Tatsu get intense, especially when it comes to her favorite like anime. So, you know, anime, manga, like it's like a whole thing. Um so she can really, you know, fight fire with fire when it comes to Tatsu. So it's like he's kind of met his match in that way. Um so I mean she's like no slouch or whatever. So she's a very strong character. But so I like that too. I like that she's no pushover. She seems very nonchalant with a lot of his antics, but I think it's just because she can also be kind of ridiculous in some things. I say ridiculous, but I can't think of another word, but that's not the right word because I don't think she's ridiculous at all. She's amazing. There are a lot of other side characters. Maybe if I could think more, I would talk more about them. Masa is also hilarious. I love Masa because he calls Miku sis, and he, you know, calls Tatsu like boss or like, you know, like a brother. The other thing too is how very polite all of the what would be considered like adversaries or rivals are. With Tatsu, when he comes up against what would be considered like a rival Yakuza, like they're very gentlemanly, which I think actually, if you do the research, reflects how Yakuza are supposed to be. Like they're supposed to be kind of like gentle people of crime, basically. I mean, it's been a while since I've done any kind of research into that because I was kind of obsessed when I was a teenager, when I was like 14, 15. I, you know, really started getting into anime as a kid, you know, especially with, you know, Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z and Trigun and Outlaw Star, and, you know, like all that stuff. This thing keeps slipping. Oh my God. But I really started getting into more when I got to high school and middle school and met like, you know, certain groups of friends that, you know, certain people that I'm still friends with that are really obsessed with this stuff and conventions and everything and cosplaying. So I did a lot of research into like Japanese culture, and of course Yakuza is part of that. So it does seem very reminiscent of, you know, imitating actual life, where Yakuza are very, very professional in what they do. And so yeah, it seems to reflect that. It's just the over the topness of Tatsu and how the other characters match that energy. That's what makes it hilarious and seem a little, you know, obscure and just weird. But totally worth it, totally fun. I definitely am going to have to go and read the manga. Actually, I think it's part of the long list of manga already, but at least I'll be able to cross it off my list. Because I'm pretty sure I added that like a year ago or so. I'm pretty sure. Because if I remember correctly, the anime on Netflix was 2021. Oh, I'd have to go look again. And I'm not gonna lie, even though I tried to start Beastars, it's not really my cup of boba tea. So I mean, it's eh. But hearing Jonah Scott's voice as Tatsu, I was like, okay. I mean, as a writer, like I have this epic fantasy that I'm writing, and I want to go the route of. I was thinking traditional publishing, but I really love anime. I really love like graphic novels and manga and comics. And I really love like webtoon stuff. So I might want to try going that direction. So if I ever make it big and it becomes like an anime, I totally want Jonah Scott to play one of my main characters as like his voice, because it's literally like that's the voice of this character in my head. He not the character isn't intense the way the Tatsu is, but it's that depth. And also it just the range, because Tatsu also can be very gentle and quiet in some cases. Like I don't have the best hearing, so I am always used to having subtitles on no matter what, like whether it's English or Japanese, or just any language. Like subtitles. I always have subtitles on. I did that even before my hearing became bad in the Navy, but there are times when I was like, okay, even though I'm reading it, I had to turn the volume up because I'm like, what did he say? Like, because he can get very soft and he can be very, like he becomes like in awe of some characters, or he's surprised, or like there's a range of emotions, but Tatsu isn't just crazy intensity and nothing but passion. It can be very gentle too, very quiet. And there is a lot of moments where he shows like, oh my gosh, that's so cute, and he like gushes about like certain animals, like he loves animals. I was like, crushing on Tatsu for that reason too. And there was a moment where like he has this like serene, happy face when he's like kissing the nose of a horse. And I was like, okay, I love horses. That's, I think my brain short circuited when I saw that. I was like, okay, I have to pause here for a minute. I'm just, I'm heating up a little bit. Okay. Um, but the way that Joe Scott brings Tatsu to life in all those things, and it's just like, that's, the range I love. So, and the deep voice I love. So I was like, if I ever make it big, I want Joe Scott to be the voice actor for that character, like one of my main characters. That would be awesome. Whew. I'm not saying that's going to happen though, because I still have not finished my book. And besides, I don't know that Joe Scott would be interested in that. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I just think he's an awesome voice actor. I do follow him on Instagram though. Like I started following him, I think, after I started watching Beastars, and then like I started watching The Way of the Househusband, and then I dropped off and forgot to finish the rest of The Way of the Househusband, which I finally did. I finally finished it. But all that aside, go watch it. Go read it. It's amazing. It's awesome. I need to sleep. I feel like my adrenaline is starting to fall away, and this stand is starting to, okay, it's about to break. Okay. All right, I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. I promise I really will rewatch Glass Onion and do a review, and I promise I really will. I will, if I don't get distracted by anime again. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye.